Hey y'all, so the Impact Atlanta Season 2 Episode 4 was released last Thursday, so let's get into this episode. So first we see Ari and her friend Shane. She's at a doctor's office getting a breast consultation. She says that the doctor that she's going to is the best doctor in Miami, and this will be the 5th time she will be getting her boobs done. And Shane asks her, like, well, why are you getting them done? Like, they look nice now. She's like, she wants more projection. And I agree with Shane, girl. They look good. They fine. Leave them alone. But then again, it's not my body, so let me mind my business. She catches Shane up on the recent break-in at her mom's house, and basically they talk about her moving to Miami, and like she's contemplating, like she's 50-50. She's like, I want to stay in Atlanta, but also I want to go to Miami because we need to get away from this. She says that she's too comfortable in Atlanta and she's scared to kind of jump out of her comfort zone, but she feels like the move to Miami would push her to work harder. Next, we see Des with her assistant, Tay. They're cleaning her closet out, and she catches Tay up on how everything is going with her mom. She mentions they're going to a cooking class, and they're working on the relationship since her mom is moving to Atlanta soon. And she talks about how the relationship hasn't been the same since her brother had passed away. They talk about the cast photo shoot coming up, and the assistant mentions that Karlae will be there, and Des basically like, she ain't worried about that. She don't even know what Karlae got going on, but she got bigger issues to worry about than Karlae and her petty drama. In the next scene, we see Tay. Tay is in New York. He's looking for houses because he wants to move to New York. He lets us know he has outgrown ATL. He's ready for something new. He wants to get into editorial stuff and like fashion, so he's looking for new houses. He's not really feeling the house that he's in. The closet space is lacking, and the space overall in the house is lacking for him. At the end of Tay's tour, Dream comes to the house and they greet each other, and he's like, well, I'm not really feeling this house. And she's like, you won't be able to get as big of a house like you have in ATL in New York. Like, it just doesn't work like that. And Tay talks about how he wants to stop overthinking and he wants to stop being scared to take the next step with things, and how he hasn't told his mom that he wants to move to New York. He mentions that he has a promo shoot to do at the end of the week, and Karlae is going to be there. Dream gives him some advice. She says, go into the conversation with a positive mind and don't let no one get you out of character. And she also adds that it doesn't matter the length of the friendship, is just the strength. Next, we see Karlae link up with her 2 friends. They talk her swimsuit line. She plans to relaunch it. She hasn't dropped swimsuits since 2019, so that'll be interesting. Her friend asks how the meetup with Tuson went. She says she feels played. She feels like she tried, but she just doesn't understand where the energy is coming from, and she feels like he don't mess with her. Then she says, do you know how many people phone dies? I said, girl, this is such a weak excuse. I'm like, I get the whole situation is really not that serious, and she could be feeling blindsided, like, for sure. But for her to keep saying, do you know how many people's phone died? Like, maybe my phone was dead. Girl, that is such a weak excuse, because as a grown adult, you should know your phone number. Just say you really did not mean you wanted to link. Like, sometimes I say stuff to people, I'll be like, oh, well, we gotta hang out, when I really don't mean it. And maybe when he asked for that phone number, she was just like, oh, damn, I didn't really mean it. Like, I ain't really mean it. Just DM me. Like, just DM me. You know, maybe that's what she meant, because it's no way you're grown and you don't know your phone number. Like, let's be for real. In her confessional, she says she don't care to make up with Tuson after Tuson has disrespected her. Her and her friends also talk about the promo shoot and how she's going to see Tay. She says she's going to stop by Tay's room and say hi, and she hopes that they can have a conversation and address the elephant in the room. She wants to know what the problem is and why he's not feeling her. Next, we see Ari with Shane. She's touring a house in Miami, and the house is beautiful. It sits on the water. It's $13 million. And she's like, she loves it, so she calls Moneybag Yo. She's like, babe, I found a house. You gonna buy it for me? He's like, yeah. And she was like, thank you, love you, talk to you later, whatever. And in her confessional, she goes, nah, just playing. I wanted to see if my cat was good enough for a $13 million crib. I don't need a man, I got my own. I was like, okay, Ariana. And she also says she don't want to move to Miami because of Mario. She want to move there for her, but also she want to move there for him too, because she wants to have sex a lot. Then we see Des and her mom at a cooking class. She says she's learning to cook for her future man, and her mom just keeps saying future. Well, future this, future that. And Des is trying to change the subject. And then her mom's like, you see this bossiness? I've had to deal with this with her all her life. And it just seems like she's just getting more disrespectful. And then that's like, sometimes I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying how I feel. That's just how you take it. And I feel like you have to be open to getting to know me again and understanding that I would never intentionally disrespect you. And she apologizes to her mom. And they get into the conversation of Des's brother Woody. And they talk about how ever since they lost him, everything is always intense with the mom. And she says to her mom it's hard for her to show emotions because she can't accept that he's gone. And, she beats herself up about not picking up the phone the day he called before he died. Her mom lets her know that she's still processing the death of Woody. And she says that she feels like Des picking up the phone would have saved his life. And I felt like, ooh, Mama Des, why would you say that? Her picking up the phone, what could she really have done over the phone? You can't place that blame on Des. Like, that's a heavy weight, honey. And Des says for a long time she felt the same way. She felt like it was her fault. She says they're all dealing with grief, and she has 3 other kids that are human and have feelings, and she feels like her mom does not consider that, and she doesn't realize how hard they tried with her. Then the mom apologizes for being so angry and everything else. And in Des's confessional, she says it's amazing to say how she's been feeling, and it feels even better that her mom received it. And I'm glad that they got through that, and I hope they are still working towards a better relationship together. Now let's get into this messy promo shoot. Alright, it starts off fine. Ari and Karlae greet each other. They like, Ari's like, yeah, we're gonna have a meeting to talk everything out and clear the air, we too grown. Karlae's in her confessional. She says she feels like Tuson and Des already have their mind made up about her, but she just wants to talk to Tay. And she goes into Lakea's dressing room and she tells her, everybody's going to talk and we're going to clear the air. And Lakea's like, that's a good idea. Mind you, this is the first time we're seeing Lakea the whole episode, which makes no sense. Why doesn't she have her own scene? But that's a conversation for another time. Then we see Tuson go into Des's dressing room, and he's like just messing with her. They having a conversation, and before he leaves, he's like, "Are you okay with Karlae being here?" And she goes, "Don't ask me that shit. Like, let's be for real." Then we see Tay in the wardrobe room, like getting his clothes, and we see Karlae knock on the door. And Tay goes into the little fitting room and hides in there, and Karlae comes in. And he stays in there till she leaves. And in his confessional, they're like, did you hear Karlae come in? And he's like, yeah, I heard her. But I just got here and this is not where my head is right now. Right now, I just need to concentrate on my looks. Now, after everyone takes their photos, Karlae goes into the room where Tay, Ari, and Tuson are with their crew. She walks in. She's like, hey, Tay. Hey, Anaya. And you can tell there's some editing here, but nobody responds to her, and it's like super awkward. So then she sits by Ari, and Ari's like, I need to ask you something. When you and Tuson did your little meetup, you was like, let me get my ostrich and go. And Karlae was like, yeah, that conversation was crazy. We was just going back and forth about the same stuff. It was giving phony. And when she said that, she literally activated Tuson. Like, Tuson was, but he was ready on go when she walked in the door. You could tell by his face. But he gets activated. He's talking about, Karlae, you can't tell me that when you wanted to link up and I asked for your phone number and you said DM me, and just talk about this whole DM situation that I'm over. Then Karlae's like, you don't have no base as to why you feel like I'm fake. And he pulled something out of his ass and ran with it. And Tuson, he says at a later time they had exchanged numbers, and what was the change in that? And then Ari's like, well, what do you feel like is the change, Tuson? And Tuson says she knew she was going to be around more. And Karlae cuts him off and is like, oh, really? You want me to pull receipts? I didn't know I was going to be around anybody. Now you're making up stuff and you're creating a weird environment already. Tuson leaves and he's like, it's given delusional, babe. And that's where the title of the episode comes from. And once he leaves, Karlae explains the situation again, and she tells them how even after the whole number situation, Tuson got in the car and they was all in the car turning up. And after she said that, Tay is in his confessional and he's like, well, based off what she's saying, Tuson, you're fake. Like, why was you in the car turning up afterwards if it was a problem? Like, and Ari's like, Tuson is acting a damn fool with this Karlae situation. He just needs to get back to his normal self, joking and having fun. After all of that, Karlae tells Tay that they're going to talk one-on-one, so it's no mix-ups or no other opinions, and she's glad she got to see him. Once she walks out the door, Tay's sister Anaya is like, you gonna go talk to her? He says, I don't want to be in the mix with all that shit, so no. I feel like they're dragging this Karlae and Tuson situation out, and I feel like if Tay and Karlae do not plan, well, she want to have a conversation, but if Tay plans to actually not have a conversation with her and they never sit down and they never talk about this whole situation, there's no point in even mentioning it in the episode because we're never going to see it. In the way Tay is talking, he's not sitting down and having no conversation, but who knows, they might have a conversation in the episode or maybe the reunion, I'm not sure. But in this episode, Tuson barely had a scene like by himself, and Lakia did not have a scene. So I'm like, are y'all part of the show? I'm gonna give this episode like a 7.5, maybe an 8. I like that that's really opened up. We seen Ari planning to move, Tay planning to move. We didn't see Tuson, we didn't see Lakia for real. They dragging this Karlae and freaking Tuson mess. But in the next episode, we see Ari's going to go sit down with her dad. Tay is telling his family that he wants to move to New York. And we see a big blowout with, guess who? Karlae and Tuson. Oh my gosh. That's the end of this recap. Make sure you guys like, comment, and let me know your thoughts on the episode. And subscribe. And have a good day.